Namaste, folks. I'm Aman, my host, and in this episode of the Youth Philosophy, I bring to you my big brother Ryan Gàllego. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, no, you got it right.
Yeah. So, Ryan, why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. Well, my name is Ryan Gallego. I'm the founder, owner of Media Pouch. Media Pouch is a media house based in Austin, Texas that produces epic videos that drive results for brands, entrepreneurs, companies, anybody who's looking to get results online. We basically come in, produce the content, and then we'll help them on the distribution side deliver results. So
Okay. So, Ryan, how was your journey as a high school student? Did you ever thought that you would be able to achieve so much in life at that time?
In high school, I was a pretty shitty student, so I didn't really get good grades or anything like that. And I definitely did not know I didn't know what I wanted to do in high school, but I knew that I wanted to make a lot of money, and I wanted to have my own company, and I just wanted to basically just have the financial freedom and just freedom in general to just do whatever I please. So I didn't know at the time what I was going to do yet, though.
So, did high school set up a foundation of your future self, or it was just like a mediocre experience, and then you found out that you want to do this media pouch venture later in your life?
Yeah, it was a mixture of both. Definitely, like high school itself wasn't anything that like the courses and classes and teachers definitely weren't anything that like impacted me. But getting a job at St. Louis Digital, which was a sports photography startup in my hometown area, getting a job there during high school definitely shaped everything that happened like right now, because that's when I picked up my first camera. That's where I started learning about entrepreneurship, started learning about, everything from the business to marketing, editing, photography, filming, all that good stuff. And I think that, just on the, social side of things in high school, it was, I did sports and all that good stuff, but there was quite a few life experiences that I think I had that, were definitely like impacted me, like, right, like going to military school during the summers, having kind of getting the partying out of my system back in high school, I think was a good thing because I wasn't too inclined to party in college, and I'm not really inclined to party now. So getting all of that stuff out of the way, I think was a really, really good thing. Not that I encourage it for any high school students, but it definitely, if we're talking about things that shaped me to where I'm at now, like it's definitely getting that job at STL Digital, getting the partying out, and then going to military school. So during the summers.
So, what made you decide that content creation is the way to go? So, was there any sudden incident or anything that our audience can relate to?
Yeah, for sure. Like the I mean, I was that sports photography company was definitely, in the right time, right place where, smartphones weren't really a thing, iPhones weren't really a thing, so people didn't really have access to like take really high res photos. So being able to, shoot on a super uh, pricey camera with a huge lens and take really amazing photos, and then bringing it back to laptops so people could see and then buy. It was ahead of its time, right? And I was like, ooh, like this makes a lot of money. Like I would see it on the weekends, right? Like I would definitely bring in like $10,000 for the company on a weekend just selling prints. Um, but my mind didn't change that like photography, videography, like content creation was going to be a thing until I went over to Croatia in 2018. And we went there for the Yacht Week event, which was basically just like, in the most simple and humble terms, just boats, island hopping in the Mediterranean Sea. And we went there just for that, but I had bought a drone the week before, put it up in the sky, captured a cool sunset. Their marketing director found me through Instagram. They were like, "Hey, our videographer didn't show up. Here's a brand new GoPro. Just use your drone. Would you mind grabbing some content for us?" And I was like, "Oh." this is cool. So I really wasn't into video yet, and I was like, well, I think this is pretty easy. It's just a GoPro on a stick and flying the drone. Like, it'll be easy. But just being around like that atmosphere and having that experience of like being at something that you're really like, you want to be there, right? Like, this is the party, this is a really cool experience in life, but then getting to like, basically be compensated or one way or another to do what you're already going to be doing. um, that's where it clicked for me. Like, that's where I was like, oh, like, this is a passion meets like, actual income. um, and that's like the most relatable thing about it, was where I was like, I think I can do this, travel the world, film exotic things, do, have really cool experiences and make money all at the same time. So I left that week and was like, man, I just want like an adventure team. I want an automotive team, real estate team, and just like, we're just going to tackle the world and go film it. So I think the most relatable thing for anybody, in high school is just like, just experiment with things. Just, you don't know if you're going to like something until you try it. So just don't ever, cross something off the list if you haven't tried it yet.
Okay, so what it all comes down is to like you just grab the right opportunity when it arrived to you. So how can someone who is like in the beginning phases start noticing that yes, this is the right opportunity or this is not the opportunity I'm waiting for?
Well, I think that you're never going to know if it's the right or wrong opportunity. I think you just have to, I, I mean, I think you just have to follow your passions, and you're not going to find your passions by looking at it through like, oh, is this a good opportunity? Is this going to make me money? It's more so, what do I really enjoy doing? And what would make me happy the rest of my life if I had to do that one thing every single day? Because the more time that you put into it and like practice that skill and passion, and really become technically advanced in that whatever you're doing, like that in itself will become the opportunity. Because what will happen is you're going to become so good at it because you're so obsessed over doing it, because it makes you so happy and you get gratification and fulfillment, that people are going to start wanting whatever that thing is, whether it's content creation or the product that you're making or the service you're providing, or basically anything. Like, when you're on the rise and you're at the top, like, people want that no matter what it is. They want something that is the best. And that's how I would look at opportunity. You can turn anything into an opportunity. I mean, if
Okay,
it
so
if I was
with
passionate about rocks, I could go sell rocks tomorrow and I'd be the best rock seller ever.
yeah, I recently heard a news that a guy was like super into NFTs and he just took a selfie of his face and it was just like auctioning for like $1 million. Like,
Yeah.
can you
I mean,
imagine just a simple selfie auctioning for $1 million? And the world is going crazy right now. So you can have passion in literally anything. Just take selfies
mhm.
and just post it as an NFT. So the bidding started at around like $3 and then it went like $1 million. It's still like I'm still unable to digest that fact that a stupid selfie can be as expensive as $1 million. So if you are passionate about something, then you can like automatically generate something out of it. Okay,
Yeah.
so Ryan, yeah, so if you could go back in time, and then what would be that one thing that you would change?
Um, I don't know if I would change anything in my past, to be honest, because I think everything in life happens for a reason. And I think that, the mistakes I made definitely were good learning lessons, because in my mind, nothing's ever a failure, it's always a lesson. But that being said, if there were one thing to change, it would probably be to have just started Media Pouch a lot earlier and like gone into, I don't think I would have necessarily gone and worked at Amazon right after college. I think I would have just, you know, gone straight into building the company, because then that would have put me 3 years ahead of where I'm at now. And our trajectory is just like, it's like a hockey stick right now. It's just, I could already be up here in the hockey stick, but instead I'm right in the curve. So that would be the only thing, is probably just started doing my own thing sooner.
So, what advice do you have for someone who has like an idea of like doing a thing X or starting a company Y, and he's still in his early years? Then, what advice do you have for him? Should he start that thing right away, or should he wait for something?
I think the earlier you start, like if you've got an idea that's just like eating at you and that's all you can think about and it's like you're obsessing about it, then absolutely, like 100%, like you just need to get started. And like that's the so many people there's a lot of people in this world that have a lot of great ideas for a lot of products and service, and they don't do anything about it. They want to plan it all out. They want to, be like, okay, well, I'm going to do this first and then that and then that and then I'll be ready. And the fact of the matter is that like you're never going to be ready, no matter how much you plan it out. And you just have to execute. Like you just need to like just do something. Like the second you put something in motion, then it's going to go. And I think it's Newton's law. An object in motion will stay in motion, and an object at rest will always
Yeah,
stay at rest. So,
law of
right, like
inertia.
if you're always going to be planning and sitting still, you're always going to be at rest. You're never actually going to get going. But if you just put it in motion, like say you quit your job and go into the company, then you're going to stay in motion. Um, but I would definitely prep for sure. Like I would, if I let's just take the world of content creation for example. Like I had that idea. What were my steps? What did I do? Well, I quit my job and then, removed my security net, and that forces me into a corner to go all in on it. I then built out our portfolio by moving to Australia because I wanted the best content in the world, and where else better to do that than Australia? So created that portfolio. And then I just started, networking. I was going to 3 to 5 networking events a day for like 3, 4 months, just to talk about, I'm Ryan, this is what I'm doing. Like, not even trying to sell, but just more so get feedback on like, is this the right product? Is this the right service? Like, what is my price point? Like, what do people want? Because the fact of the matter is like you don't know what's best, and you don't know what your customer or client or whoever wants. Like they have that knowledge, they have that feedback, and you have to go out there and collect it from them. So definitely I would do research and development, and you know just launch and then just collect feedback from your customers. Like your customers are always going to tell you what's good and what's bad and how to move forward or backwards. So
Ryan, would you recommend any content creator for like, so suppose I'm student X and I want to start something and I want to go into the entrepreneurial side of things. So, is there some content creator that you would like me to binge watch, or is there someone that you would like me to uh, get some prior knowledge before starting out the things? Let's take for an example. For me, I started out with Gary Vee. So he literally changed my mindset from like setting up the goals of like 1 million followers or something to like developing a consistent habit of producing the content instead. So is there any
mhm.
content creator in your mind that someone could watch?
Yeah, definitely. There's two specifically that I think do a really good job, for two different reasons. But there's a course called Full Time Filmmaker, which is Parker Walbeck is the owner, creator, filmmaker behind that. That course. I used that to basically. I went from knowing nothing about filmmaking, and I took that course, knocked it out in like 4 months, and then I knew everything about filmmaking. So that for sure, like, is the best person to learn filmmaking, editing, anything and everything related to the industry on. And then there's another course. Called The Real Deal Video Strategist. And David, I'm blanking on his last name, but David Bibliano, he was actually a full time filmmaker. He had taken the course as well, but then realized that there was an opportunity on the actual business side where there's a lot of content creators, a lot of courses out there that teach you like filmmaking, but nobody teaches you actually how to like run a business, like close deals, like all these other things. And he's done a really, really good job with his course. There's been a lot of people that have benefited from it, and he's helped them close like six-figure deals and all that good stuff. So on the business side, I would definitely recommend like checking out that course and David Bibliano for sure.
Okay. So the early decision rounds of the college admission cycle just ended, and they might be announcing the regular decisions by March as well. So, what advice do you have for those who didn't get into the dream schools?
Yeah, I think that I'd say that it's okay that you didn't get into your dream school, because at the end of the day, sorry, at the end of the day, um, most colleges all teach the same thing. Like the courses are all the same. Like the only difference between your dream school that's up here and your school that is your last resort, the only difference is the branding. Like people want the I went to Yale, I went to Harvard, like I went to MIT, because of like what those schools like, what the symbol of it is, what the branding of it is. There's some other things like networking and stuff that are also very worthy, but um, at the end of the day, it's the same curriculum for the most part, and it's not going to really make a difference at this point in where we're at as a society, because um, I think colleges aren't teaching all that much relevant, good material. So a lot of that stuff is going to be found in courses and uh, YouTube, and honestly, just doing like internships and jobs and like getting real world experience. I think that, if I didn't get into my dream school, and let's just say I didn't get into any schools, I would I would basically, like I would just ask myself, like, what am I passionate about, and what do I want to do? I would definitely go get a job to, keep money flowing in, so I don't have to go broke, and I have something to eat. But you know, while I'm doing that, I would grab an internship with something. If I was interested in video, then I'd go intern at a video production company. I'd go work at photography studio, something like that, just to gain that experience, because I think a lot of CEOs, business owners, entrepreneurs, and just companies in general are taking more of the approach of like, and I do this too. Like, I really don't care where you went to school, what your major was. Like, I care about what's your experience. Like, have you actually like filmed stuff? Have you actually edited stuff? Like, what's your proficiency in like these softwares and applications? Like, because I know for a fact in college that they're not teaching that in film school. I've had 3 interns here, and college did not prepare them for this. But doing our internship, it has. So I would say, I would go get an internship somewhere, and then I would bounce back from that and reapply at my dream school or wherever else I wanted to get into. And that way I've got something else. I can tell a story on my college application, like, hey, like, you guys rejected me, but this is how I rebounded. I went and got an internship at Media Pouch. They taught me all of this, and I was able to do this for them, and they did that for me. And that's why I think I'm a really good candidate for your school, because I can take these lessons and apply them to other students and faculty in your college. So that's what I would do.
So, what would you say to a high school student or like any other student who thinks that college is everything? So, of course, there are some positive and negative sides of the college experience.
Sure.
So, what would you
Yep.
say to that guy?
I would say that it's not everything. It's like, unless you're going to school to be a doctor, lawyer, some profession that you like legitimately need to like go to school and have a master's or PhD. Like, it's not everything, because if you're going into like something like business or filmmaking or just entrepreneurship in general, like there's no course in the world that is going to teach you everything that you need to know. Um, you know, for example, I went to school for I was a double major in economics and finance, and then specialized in portfolio analysis, um, because I thought I wanted to go work on Wall Street. Right. None of that prepared me for running my own company, or being a filmmaker, editor, at the very least. But uh, it definitely wasn't like a turnkey solution. But what it did provide me was, uh, the analytical side of things. Like, I really like numbers, and then I took that knowledge of understanding numbers and applying it to like media production, right? And that's why we're so successful, because we understand the back end of numbers. But um, there's so many different resources out there now for to learn everything. I mean, like, I feel like I've learned 90% of what I do every day on YouTube, like just googling stuff, just YouTubing stuff, listening to podcasts on Spotify, like reading books, talking to people. I think that's probably the most undervalued thing, is that um, people don't have mentors. They don't have like somebody that they can like strategically have a hard conversation with, and that person's going to hold them accountable or help them be strategic about what they're doing in life. And that person can teach you a lot, whether it's business or personal. So definitely mentors, YouTube. At the end of the day, like, I think college is on its way out, and University is on its way in. So I wouldn't beat yourself up over it, and I would just I would keep your head up and just find the next big opportunity. Really ask yourself, is college the right decision for me? Like, if I want to be an entrepreneur, if I want to own my own company, then probably you're probably good not going to college at this point. Like, you're probably good to just like go start that thing and figure it out along the way, because you will learn more on just trying it out on your own than going to college. And I actually just listened to a podcast that Gary Vee was on. It was on the Full Send podcast, and he even that question got brought up. Not necessarily about college specifically, but it was about NFTs, and like, the one guy on the podcast knew nothing, and Gary Vee basically told him, like, if you spend 50 hours, over the course of however many days, like, if you just invest 50 hours right now into learning NFTs and blockchain, that's more valuable than 4 years of college, because that will literally, like, NFTs and blockchain are the future of what's happening. And I think that it just proves my point. Like, there's you could literally become an NFT blockchain specialist, and like build a consulting firm around that, and you could make millions right now, because so many people don't know what the hell is going on with it. So um, I just think that there's a lot more opportunity out there than college. So
So, being an entrepreneur and being the founder of a media company, what has been the hardest part of your journey and how did you cope up with that problem?
yeah, I think the hardest part is just like, whenever I was starting out, was it's funny. Like, you go from going to school your entire life, it's very structured. There's a routine, everything's mapped out for you. You're like, okay, I got to do this, do that to get there. And it's the same thing with like a job or a corporate job, right? Like, everything's very structured. Like, you have a manager, they have a manager. You know what you need to be doing. There's goals, there's deadlines. Um, when you leave the world of structuredness, which is most of society, you end up on an island all by yourself, and there's nobody there to tell you that, yes, this is the right way, or no, that's the wrong way. Nobody tells you what your day to day looks like. You don't know what you should be doing every day. Like, should I be doing marketing? Should I be doing accounting? Should I be editing? Should I be filming? And you're just kind of balancing all these things at one time, and trying to figure out like the best balance for it. And that was probably the hardest thing starting out. And you get in a groove after a while, but now more so, where we're at now with the company, it's the hardest thing is scaling, right? It's understanding what my capacity is as a team, like, to fulfill client orders, meaning, video projects. Like, if I have 3 editors, what's my capacity? Do I need to hire? Do I invest in this machine right now? And it's more so like just becoming going from like, kind of entrepreneur founder and then stepping into more of the business owner CEO, and just documenting all of the SOPs and SOWs and creating trainings and all that good stuff. And that's more the challenging thing now, is scaling. So, but you have different hurdles at different points. And overall, I think one of the hardest things of being an entrepreneur is just like, you are on that island and there's not a whole lot of entrepreneurs on that island. Like, being an entrepreneur, business owner is a very small percentile in this world, and it can get lonely, and you can go through phases of anxiety, depression, like because you're just overwhelmed with things. You're overwhelmed with scaling, running a team. You don't know what to do, and it's super important to have just kind of like a support system, whether it be like another entrepreneur group or whatever it is, but some group that you can relate to, and talk about your ideas and headspace and all that good stuff. So different hurdles, different times of the journey.
So when people think of entrepreneurs, the only thing that comes to their mind is like a lot of money. And coming down to the financial side of the things, so what is the
Sure.
reality on the grounds? Like, what can someone expect in like the first few years of starting his thing out and then going forward?
Yeah, I think it's a really hard thing to determine how much money you're going to make starting out, um, and just over the course of the company's lifetime, because I have friends and other entrepreneurs in my network and groups that they're not as go or ambitious or driven, and they're just good with like a nice, easy, slow increase yield over time, versus me, where it's like I want to go fast, like I want to go big really fast. And I can tell you that for the first, so from 2018 when I started the company to all the way up until last November of 2020, so basically 3 years, I didn't pay myself once. I was living off my savings, and I was reinvesting all of my money back into the company, because uh, in order in order to really grow a company, and like if you're really trying to get after it and like become like the market leader in your industry, like there's not a lot of room to pay yourself. Like, and if you are, you shouldn't be paying yourself a lot. You should just be paying yourself enough for rent and food, and that's it. Like everything else should be going back into the company, because like you cannot waste that money when you're starting out. Like it's all got to be on the into the company, whether it's hiring people or buying the softwares, the apps, the machines, like whatever it is. So, to break that down for somebody, like what does that actually mean in terms of numbers? So Media Pouch did 300,000 USD in revenue last year. Of that 300,000, what did I make? I made $5,000. So I didn't pay myself anything, barely. I paid myself just enough to, I paid myself for the first time in November $5,000, because I was like, well, we're finally like on a good trajectory, and like our MRR, which is monthly recurring revenue, is going from, basically we're at 50,000 in monthly recurring revenue, and we'll be up to 100,000 monthly recurring revenue by July, which leaves me a little bit of a spot to pay myself. But even so, if you look at that $5,000 times 12 months, that's only 60,000 USD, which is the average American salary in the US. So I'm not paying myself anything crazy. Are there other ways to get what I need through a business? Absolutely. Like, everything's a business expense in my head, and in the legal system of the US. So buying office furniture, monitors, phones, all that good stuff, cars, like it can all be tax deductible, which plays its favor. So but my end goal is to make Media Pouch, maybe, like an 8-figure company. I don't think a production company can necessarily be a 9-figure company, but definitely 8 figures, like doing 10 million. And at that point, profit margin sits at 50 to 60%. So you can ask for 3 times your profit margin if you're going to sell your agency. So Say we had 6 million in profit, I could then sell it for three times that at 18 million. And hopefully that's in 10 years. So,
So
and then I'm good.
what I understood is like starting a company is like raising a baby from the beginning. You just have to compromise the things. You just have to compromise your sleep for that baby to nurture and for that baby to grow, right?
Yep, 100%. It is very much just like it's way more demanding and way more expensive than a baby or a dog put together. But I mean, you've when you're starting it, you're creating probably a new product or new process or new service, and you've got to document all of that stuff, so then that way you can take what's inside of your head and then transfer it to whoever you hire, or like basically get it out of your head and into code if you have like an app, so then that way AI or anything like that can compute it and uh, whatnot. So it's a lot of steps. I mean, you're talking about taking care of clients and everything. It is very, very demanding.
Okay, so I literally have a lot of questions right now, and I don't want to consume all of your time. So we'll straight up move to the
No,
last
you're
question.
you're good.
So, what
You're
advice do
you're
you
good.
have
If
for
you
the
want
youth
to
philosophers?
say it again.
What advice do you have for the youth philosophers? So, youth philosophers is what I like to call my audience. They are high school
Okay.
students.
Um, I think the biggest piece of advice is to it's okay it's okay to go against the norm in society. Like, you don't have to do things that you grow up thinking that you have to do. Like, it's okay if you don't like go to college. It's okay if you don't work that corporate job. It's okay that you don't get married by the time of 30. It's okay that you don't buy the house by the time of 30. Like, all of these things are, very structured societal things, and it's okay to go against them. And at the end of the day, like, no matter what amount of money somebody's going to pay you, or however much money you're going to make in life, like, it'll never be enough if you're not happy. Like, you've got to truly find what makes you happy. Like, if you find that other person, that significant other that makes you truly happy, then like, that's probably a good thing. You should probably pursue that, because that person will be with you for the rest of your life if you end up marrying them. It's the same thing with your job though. Like, every single day, every single person on this earth works, and a lot of people are miserable. And find that thing that makes you happy. I ask my employees and interns and everybody this all the time basically in our 90-day review. I ask them, like, if you were to do one thing every single day for the rest of your life, no matter what would that thing be? And would you be happy doing it? And that's what you need to do. And if somebody can't answer that, then they need to spend a day just like thinking about what it is that they like and don't like and what they're passionate about, and write it out, and then go from there. Because life is a very, very long thing, and medicine technology is only going to get better, and we're probably all going to be living till we're 110 at this point. So it's a long life ahead, and so find that thing that you're truly, truly passionate about, and just go for it.
Okay, so thank you so much, Ryan, for coming on to the show. And guys, I'll put everything down in the show notes if you want, because I'm a professional show notes writer, if you don't know till now. And I'll post all of the resources and all of the stuff that Ryan discussed about in the show notes. And you can just check them out in the description below. And make sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite streaming platforms. And you can check out Ryan as well. And he would be happy to connect with you as well. And I'll post everything down. So that was it for the episode. Bye bye.